The person driving the beat-up Toyota next to you at the red light might be worth more than every single person on your entire street. The richest people deliberately hide their wealth from the world. And there's one specific psychological weapon behind this behavior. A wealth strategy so powerful that the financial industry doesn't want you to understand it. Because if you did, you'd stop buying the things they need you to buy. I'll expose exactly what this weapon is before this video is over. Hiding wealth on purpose. Most people won't make it past the 3-minute mark of this video. Not because it's too long, but because what I'm about to reveal will make them deeply uncomfortable about every financial choice they've ever made. If you stay until the end, you'll understand something most people spend their entire lives never figuring out. In the next 40 minutes, I'm going to expose the hidden psychology behind people who drive old cars but have millions. The stealth wealth strategy the ultra-rich have been using for decades, and why the people who look the richest are usually the ones who are actually the most broke. The status illusion. Look around you at any traffic light in any major city. Leased BMW, rented reality. You see people driving luxury cars, projecting an image of success that looks completely real. But here's what you don't see. You don't see their bank accounts. You don't see the loan statements, the lease payments, the credit card balances piling up every single month just to maintain an image that nobody actually asked for. There's a concept in economics called the Veblen good, named after sociologist Thorstein Veblen, who wrote about conspicuous consumption all the way back in 1899. He discovered something that's even more true today than it was a century ago. Conspicuous consumption of valuable goods is a means of reputability to the gentleman of leisure. Translation: we buy expensive things not because they serve us, but because we want others to believe we're successful. The problem is, this psychology has been weaponized against ordinary people for generations. The car you drive has become a social signal, and most people are broadcasting the wrong message entirely without even realizing it. Ask yourself, the last time you saw someone in a luxury car, what did you assume about them? Whatever you assume. You were probably completely wrong. And what comes next explains exactly why. Because the truth about who actually drives those cars is far more disturbing than you think. Stealth wealth code. But here's where this gets truly fascinating. While broke people are leasing BMWs to project success, the genuinely wealthy are doing something completely counterintuitive. Studies show that in the United States, the median millionaire drives a vehicle that's over 4 years old. Most of them drive Toyotas, Fords, and Hondas, not Ferraris and Lamborghinis. This isn't an accident, it's a deliberate strategy called stealth wealth, one of the most powerful psychological frameworks the ultra-rich operate by. Thomas Stanley and William Danko spent decades researching real wealthy Americans for their landmark book, The Millionaire Next Door. What they found shocked the financial world. Most millionaires don't look like millionaires. They live in average houses. They drive practical cars. They shop at discount stores. They built wealth by refusing to perform it for anyone. The brutal truth, the people who actually look wealthy are often the most financially insecure among us. They're running a performance. A very expensive performance that costs them their actual financial future. If this belief hit close to home, hit like and subscribe to reprogram more of your money blocks. Because what I'm about to show you about car depreciation will permanently change how you see every luxury vehicle you've ever wanted to own. The depreciation trap. Now, what I'm about to tell you sounds impossible, but it's been mathematically proven. The moment you drive a new car off a dealership lot, gone, it loses between 15 and 20% of its value. Not over a year, not over a month, the instant you leave the parking lot. By year 5, that vehicle has lost between 50 and 60% of its original purchase price. Luxury cars are wealth destroyers. This is what wealthy people understand at a fundamental level that most people never grasp. A luxury car is not an asset. It is a liability dressed in leather and chrome. Every single month you own it, it transfers wealth out of your pocket and into a depreciation curve that only goes one direction: down. Meanwhile, the millionaire mindset calculates the opportunity cost. What that $80,000 could become if invested wisely over a decade. Historically, in the S&P 500, it would roughly double every 7 years. Rich people buy assets. Poor people buy liabilities and think they are assets. That car in your driveway isn't a trophy. It's a tax on your future. The wealthy understood that long ago, but here's what's even darker. It's not just about the math. There's a psychological reason the wealthy want others to underestimate them. And the next segment reveals something about identity that changes the entire game. Identity vs assets. Stop and think about this for a second. Why do you actually want a luxury car in the first place? If you are honest with yourself, the answer is never about the car. It's about how you want others to perceive you. It's about the feeling of success, of status, of mattering in a world that constantly tells you your worth is visible. This is called identity-based consumption, and it's one of the most financially destructive forces in modern society. Psychologist Tim Kasser spent decades researching materialism and well-being. His findings were striking. People who derive their identity from possessions consistently report lower life satisfaction, higher anxiety, and worse financial outcomes over time. Possessions cannot create identity. They can only temporarily mask the absence of it. And this is where the truly wealthy think in a completely different dimension. A person with genuine wealth doesn't need a $150,000 car to feel successful, because their identity is not built on what they own. It's built on what they've created, what they control. Real wealth is silent. It doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. The people flashing luxury lifestyles on social media are often the most financially insecure people you'll ever encounter. And the next revelation about what millionaires actually choose to drive will surprise you more than you think. The Toyota principle. Now forget everything you thought you knew about how rich people live. Thomas Stanley's research for The Millionaire Next Door analyzed over 1,000 American millionaires, and the results were astonishing. The single most popular car among American millionaires is a Toyota. Not a Porsche, not a Lamborghini, a Toyota. Ford and Honda round out the top choices, and when they do buy luxury, the majority buy used, 2, 3, sometimes 4 years old. Drive old, build wealth. Warren Buffett, the man who built over $100 billion from scratch, drove the same Cadillac for 8 years before replacing it. When reporters asked why he didn't drive something more extravagant, he said something that should be carved into the wall of every financial institution. If you buy things you do not need, soon you will have to sell things you need. The Toyota principle isn't about being cheap, it's about being strategic. Every dollar the wealthy don't spend on depreciation is a dollar quietly compounding in the background, silently, invisibly building generational wealth. While you're making monthly payments on a symbol, they're compounding a reality that nobody can see. But here's where the story gets truly strange. Why do the wealthy actually want you to underestimate them? That strategy goes deeper than you think, and it gets dark. Broke mentality. Here's where the story takes a dark turn. People who lease luxury cars they can't afford aren't making a financial decision. They're making an emotional decision, driven by fear. The fear of being seen as ordinary, the fear of being irrelevant, the fear of being nobody. Psychologists call this compensatory consumption, buying expensive things to compensate for feelings of low status or inadequacy. Studies from the Journal of Consumer Research found that people with lower self-esteem are significantly more likely to purchase luxury goods as a mechanism to signal social worth. Luxury signals insecurity, not wealth. Think about that for a moment. The person driving the Ferrari on a $45,000 salary isn't showing you their wealth. They're showing you their wounds. Broke people spend money to look rich. Wealthy people spend money to get richer. This is the core difference in mentality. The wealthy understand that every dollar spent on performance is a dollar that cannot compound, and compound interest, not status symbols, is what creates generational wealth. As Einstein reportedly observed, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it, he who doesn't pays it. So which side are you actually on? Because what I reveal about the truly invisible wealthy next makes everything we've covered so far look like a minor piece of a much larger puzzle. The invisible rich. But this next one, this is the one that kept me up at night. Meet the invisible wealthy. These are people in your life, people you probably already know, that you've unconsciously dismissed as completely ordinary. The contractor who drives an old truck and works 6 days a week. The quiet woman at the library who has been investing $500 a month since she was 25 years old. The retired teacher in the modest house whose net worth quietly sits at $4 million. Invisible. These people don't show up in your mental model of wealth because that model was built on Hollywood movies and curated social media feeds, not on reality. The wealthiest people you have ever met probably didn't look wealthy at all. According to Federal Reserve data, the top 10% of wealth holders in America are far more likely to live in middle-class neighborhoods than in gated communities. They shop at Costco. They bring lunch to work. They drive vehicles with over 100,000 miles on them. Real wealth looks boring. They've made a calculated, intentional decision to be invisible. And there's a strategic reason for it that goes far beyond humility or personal preference. The next segment exposes what this strategy actually protects them from, and it will permanently change how you see success. Wealth signals. Let me pause here because this next part changes the entire picture. There are two types of people who have money in the world. The first type performs wealth. They drive the luxury cars, wear the Rolexes, post the first-class photos for everyone to see. The second type practices stealth wealth, and they consistently have significantly more money and significantly more freedom. The performance of wealth is brutally expensive. The cars, the clothes, the restaurants, the trips, all of it costs money that isn't compounding, but stealth wealth is a compounding strategy. Every year you choose not to perform is a year your money works exponentially harder for you. Stealth wealth is compounding. And here's the only signal the truly wealthy pay attention to: net worth, not income, not the car, not the house, not the watch. The number that matters is the one nobody else can see. Your net worth is the only wealth score that actually matters. The genuinely rich measure success in assets, cash flow, and time freedom, not in what others think of them. The real measure of your wealth is how much you'd be worth if you lost all your money. But there's one psychological truth behind all of this. One weapon I promised you at the very start. In the next segment, I'm finally going to reveal it. Get ready, because this one changes everything. The stealth strategy. If you thought that was disturbing, you're not ready for this. This is the psychological weapon I promised you at the very start of this video. Control. The stealth wealthy don't hide their money because they are humble. They hide it because visible wealth makes you a target. Financially, socially, legally, and emotionally. The moment people know you're rich, everything around you shifts. Family members ask for loans. Friends expect you to cover every dinner. Strangers treat you like a resource rather than a person. And in business, the moment someone knows your net worth, your negotiating power evaporates completely. Visible wealth destroys your leverage. But there's an even deeper layer to this. The stealth wealthy have discovered that hiding their money acts as a social filter. It attracts authentic relationships and repels transactional ones automatically. People who like you for your old car actually like you for you. The truly wealthy don't want to be surrounded by people who are impressed by money. They want to be surrounded by people who are impressed by character. This is the hidden psychology. The old car isn't a sacrifice. It's a weapon. The old car is armor against manipulation, false relationships, and financial predators. If you think stealth wealth is genius or insane, comment stealth if you're flipping the script, or status if you're keeping your luxury lease. I want to know which side you're on, and share this with as many people as you possibly can. This truth needs to reach far and wide, because most people will spend their entire lives never understanding it. Reprogram now. So what do you do with all of this? You start with one honest question. Am I spending money to build wealth or to look wealthy? Because those two paths lead to completely different lives. One leads to financial freedom. The other leads to a performance that gets more expensive every single year until it breaks you. Build wealth, not images. The stealth wealth strategy is simple, but it goes directly against everything our consumer culture has been programming into you your entire life. Stop performing success. Start building it. Drive the reliable car. Live way below your visible means. Let the silence of your lifestyle reflect the loudness of your balance sheet. The wealthy don't need to prove it. The numbers do the talking. Here's what I need you to carry with you. The wealthiest people you will ever meet will probably look just like everyone else, because they understand something most people never figure out. That real wealth is about what you control, not what you display. 1. Drive for function, not for status. 2. Buy assets relentlessly, not liabilities. 3. Let your net worth define you, never your car. If you made it this far, comment stealth wealth to prove you're one of the rare few who truly gets it. Your mind is either programmed for wealth or poverty. Now you know how to reprogram it. The person in that beat-up Toyota at the red light, they're not struggling. They're executing a strategy most people will never understand. A strategy built on the most powerful wealth principle that exists. Your self-worth cannot be parked in a driveway. The wealthiest people have cracked the code, not just on how to make money, but on how to keep it. And keeping it means refusing to perform, choosing freedom over appearance, compounding over consumption. Stealth wealth always wins. So the next time you see someone driving an old car and you instinctively underestimate them, stop, ask yourself, what does my car actually say about my psychology? And then decide which game you're really playing. As the great Stoic philosopher Epictetus once reminded us, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. The wealthiest version of you doesn't need applause. It doesn't need validation. It needs compounding time and the courage to be invisible while it grows. Start giving it that today. Your mind is either programmed for wealth or poverty. Now you know how to reprogram it. If this video exposed something in you, subscribe, there's more to uncover. The wealthy mindset isn't inherited, it's installed. Start installing yours today.